Popped up here. And then we're going to be all set. So, guys, I am very excited about this today. Like I said earlier, we are interviewing Trisha, the Stoic CEO. And actually, while we're setting up here, let me go ahead and turn this up. There we go. Hey, Trisha, are you there today?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Great. I think all of them can hear you. But for some reason, all of my sound has died. Give me just 1 second here. When I switched over to my headphones. There we go. Okay, we're good. We are set.
Test.
Hi, Trisha. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing awesome. Give me just 1 second here, and we'll be all set. Up there's Trisha. Perfect. Okay, let's make her a little bit bigger here. So this is what we call doing it live, chat. And what we're doing is we're doing this all right here with us before we get started, so we can do it all. There we go. Perfect. Hi, Trisha.
Hello.
So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate it. This is Trisha, the CEO of Stoic Studios, makers of many games that you guys love, including the one we're talking about today, Towerborn, which is what we're here for. So Trisha, to begin our interview, if you could please let us know who you are and who is Stoic.
Sure. Well, as you mentioned, I'm Trisha Stouffer. I'm the CEO and president at Stoic. I've been with Stoic for 5 years, but Stoic's been around for 13. Started by three people 13 years ago, John Watson, Arnie Jorgensen, and Alex Thomas, when they left their jobs to, go make the games they wanted to make. So they left and they created Banner Saga, which is a turn-based tactical game, and then had commercial and critical success, and then that turned into Banner Saga 2 and 3. And if you haven't played them, they're great games.
I need to.
It's still Banner Saga is still on the top 10 list of games in that genre. It gets written about still frequently, so that's cool. And then about 6 years ago, we started working on Towerborn, and last September we brought it to early access on Steam, and then April came Xbox game preview and game through Game Pass, and here we are. We're excited.
So I can definitely confirm that about Banner Saga. I get asked about Banner Saga at least once to twice a month, and have been for, let's see, let me check 12 years now. So since I started streaming, pretty much, that's awesome to hear. Now, here's one thing though. Banner Saga is a very different flavor than Towerborn. How did we get from there to here?
Sure. Yeah. When John, Arnie, and Alex quit their jobs to go start their own thing, they literally emptied their retirement accounts and had a pile of money and said, what game can we make with this? And Banner Saga was a complete departure from things they had done before. They had worked on Star Wars, SWTOR, and
I love
Galaxies.
SWTOR.
Yeah. So things like that. So they came from that background, but they're like, well, we've got this amount of money. What game do we think the three of us can make? And Banner Saga was made with 3 people, 4 if you count Austin Wintory, who did the soundtrack, and we should always count Austin, because Austin's great and has done great work for us. And it was very specific. Arnie was the artist. He wanted something that felt like a 1950s Cinderella look and vibe and all of that. And so they made the game. And while they were making it, they went on to make 2 and 3. So now they had been making Banner Saga for 8 years or so. And they had kids, and they were growing up, and none of their kids wanted to play Banner Saga. And they just got to a point where they said, we just really want to go make a game that's, fun and inviting, and my kids would want to play with me, and friends and family would want to play. And so then they just started thinking about what's the next game, and Towerborn was it. And it's the art style is definitely a change. It's a cel-shaded, a little bit of Ghibli inspired, but it's got influences from a lot of different places.
Yeah.
And it's just something that the idea was something that was really watchable, and if you were watching it, you'd get sort of a Saturday morning cartoon vibe.
That is exactly what I get from these. Also, I gotta say, I did not know that that's where this game came from. I literally said the first minute I saw this, like, oh, this is perfect. Like one of the kids, I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, almost 4-year-old. And one of the games we loved playing, but it was just a little too old and a little too hard for them, was a game called Castle Crashers. And it's, you can tell like Castle Crashers is a lot of fun, but it's a little bit dated. And the second I played this game, it's kind of like, this is exactly what I was looking for to play with my kids. Like it has like all the difficulty stuff and all the different equipment. You can group with people super easily. So that makes a lot of sense that that's where this came from. That's kind of awesome, because that's exactly why I'm enjoying it too.
What I think is nice about Towerborn is I put the controller in the hands of a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 6-year-old, and they can be successful. They can be a button masher and go for it. But if you are, a more seasoned gamer, perhaps,
more experienced,
the combat has a lot of depth, and getting into the skill tree and things like that in class mastery is, I don't think you get bored trying to figure out like what's the best build and the best focus skills to have and things like that. So I think there's quite a range there, and you can have a lot of fun.
Well, it's also really nice. One aspect of this game that makes it's been keeping it very interesting for me is the fact that you, the weapons and gear and the sets that you get are always constantly making you go, oh, maybe I should build around this. Maybe I should build around that. So you're kind of always finding new things that might make you want to change your character and how they play, which is really cool. Don't really get that a lot from these types of games.
Yeah, but a lot to explore there. I will admit that I love Towerborn. I played a lot. If anybody's heard me before, I often call myself our number one fan, because at one point I had more hours in the game than anyone else. I think I've fallen off a bit. Things have gotten busier, but I just love what I love. I'm a Gauntlet fan. I still level up all the classes, but Gauntlets is always going to be my default. And I don't spend a lot of time. I'm like, I just want to make sure that if I die, I get back up. And, my two favorite, skills to do. My favorite heavy skill is where you can do, if you do Y, X, 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 you can continue to hitting X pretty much forever. As long as there's an enemy or something to hit in front of you, you just keep hitting it. And it's just great. You just stand in place and wait for something to walk up to you. That's been one of my favorites so far.
In many games, we call that the spin to win tactic, and it's one of my favorite as well. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
So this game has had a pretty, I would say, in terms of early access roadmaps and blueprints, you guys have been doing it pretty well. You're getting constant updates out there. Your updates are big and meaty and give players a reason to come back. We just did update 7. I believe it was a big update, or was it update 8?
I think it's 8.
It was 8. How was 8 received? How are you guys feeling about it? How are you guys feeling going into 9? And the question on everyone's mind, of course, is how are we looking towards the big 1.0?
Yeah. 8 was really well received. And one of the things we did was we brought a lot more cosmetics in, and we were a little hesitant to really fully stock the store when we released in April. We're like, we don't want people to feel like you gotta, it will be a free-to-play game. Right now it's gated, early access is gated through a founder's pack, but it's intended to be free to play. And so cosmetics and quality of life and convenience things will be what we sell. And we were a little hesitant to stock the store at first, because we didn't want people to feel like, wait a minute, I'm already paying to be in here, and now are you doing the money grab trying to get things? But what we realized was we probably weren't offering enough. People absolutely kind of, the store sold out. And we wanted to do things, do things where you don't have to buy the full set. I just love the helm or something, or, a weapon skin or something. And so we wanted to give those options as well. And it's been fun to see. There's been a number of people that have done videos where they're like, no, I promised I wouldn't spend any more money. I quit other games because I was spending too much money. And then the next thing you know, they've bought out the store again, and people love it. And there's been a lot of really great reaction there. I think that, we are continually trying to improve the the combat, like it's really good, solid combat to begin with, but there's always something more we can be doing. We've expanded the map out to a new area and given some different challenges there. And that's one of the things we're focusing on, not just for our next release, which our plan is really to try to do a release like every 2 weeks. One, the initial one being kind of more the beefier one, and the second one probably more bug fixing and maybe an event or something like that. So as we go through, we're trying to do that because we want to feed the community, the players, some great content, and make sure that we're improving and being able to respond to all the great feedback. And so, continuing to grow the map and provide new and interesting things there. We want to get more diversity in the missions that people are playing, the environments that you see, all of that. We've got a lot coming out. And so we're pushing to 1.0. It'll be later this year.
Awesome.
And we're excited for that. And I will say we've built, there's a great community that exists, great player base. If people haven't been in Discord to see that, it's one of the nicest communities I've ever been involved with, and we've actually had a lot of people who come in and they're like, "This is just a really nice Discord server where people are hanging out." So awesome. I like that as well. Yeah,
very good to hear. Hey, sorry, my son is trying to stop by, but I'm doing a sponsored interview right now, so I will talk to you later. I will come up in a little bit, but I'm still doing an interview. I'll come up in a little bit. Speaking of the little Towerborn player over there.
Love it. Love it.
So anyway, that is all awesome to hear. And about the store, that is an interesting problem to have. I think most of the time it's funny because cosmetics and having cosmetics in stores, those are a big problem if the player base doesn't want them. But it's the opposite. Mm-hmm. Like if you, that's not, it's kind of a rare situation to be in. So it's cool to see you guys kind of following up with that and doing what you need to do. What have been your biggest hurdles with this so far? And not necessarily just with this update, but like with the Towerborn style of game. What have been your biggest like lessons learned and hurdles you guys have encountered?
Oh boy, there's a lot. It's a lot to cover. Well, Towerborn is both online co-op and couch co-op. And couch co-op, there's a reason there's not a lot of couch co-op games out there. It's very difficult. And a lot of things learned there around, we still try to improve it with every release. It's still a little clunky, and, I believe in our next release, you won't. Right now, if you're playing couch co-op, I will go talk to the NPC, and then the next person has to talk to them again, even though we've already seen the conversation. It's just it's weird, and clunky. You don't have shared quests. Yeah, you don't have shared quests. We're making sure all of that happens. So awesome. It's a lot more efficient, and like just not you're not just mad for have to sit there. I always say, well, that's a good time to go take a bathroom break or something. So that's a challenge. Challenge for us as a development team is, I started 6 months into the project. I started in March of 2020, which I think the world remembers as the start of COVID and lockdown and things like that. So our team is 100% remote, and I have developers in 10 countries and 10 time zones right now. And so certainly just organizing that and communicating and making things happen in an efficient manner.
Everyone sleeps at different times. That's pretty wild. Yeah. That's an interesting challenge.
So we're kind of more producer heavy than you would typically have on a game, because there are certain golden hours during the day when everyone. There's a band of hours where everyone is online, and you have to communicate with people all at that same time. So things like that are challenging. Performance is, we're always trying to improve performance and keep us up there at 60 FPS and above. And, that's, we have someone solely dedicated to just continuing to improve that. Those are we don't have the big development challenges of we couldn't figure out how to solve something like that. For us, it's a little more logistical and like just improving things than like, man, we just don't even know how to do that. Or we didn't ever encounter something where we were like, okay, this is how we're going to go solve it. And we started working on that solution. It just wasn't going to work for us. So we've been pretty fortunate in that regard. We've got a fantastic team. John, who's the co-founder, he's our CTO. And I mean, that man is a wizard. He has a boat. It's actually named Wizard. On Banner Saga, he used Adobe Air as the engine for that and made it do things that it isn't quite supposed to do. It's pretty fantastic what he can do.
That's pretty wild.
So,
that's very cool.
Yeah.
So on the flip side of that question, this sounds like a very unique development environment. What kind of successes did you guys encounter that you weren't expecting?
Gosh. I mean, just getting, I mean, we are 100, the studio is 100 people right now. Getting 100 people. Yeah. When I started in 2020, I was number 20. So I've grown it 5X here. Just the challenge, overcoming those challenges of like, how do I get 100 people to get in the same boat and row at the same time and things like that. I think we've had some pretty amazing, we've brought in some pretty great people to do things like our environments and our combat. Like I do think our combat is great and very, very deep. And we've had people that have worked on fighting games, and I think our animation team is fantastic, and just we have a lot of seamlessness in things that are going on there. And VFX team, I remember when we were trying to hire VFX, it was in the middle of COVID, and like for some reason VFX artists were like impossible to hire, and I went all the way to Finland to get someone.
Wow.
They're still on, and they're fantastic. And so things like that where the team maybe was overcoming technical hard difficult problems, and how are we going to scale, or anytime we would go and pivot right before we released. The game is kind of complex in terms of like there are different danger levels and there are different biomes, and so the player base can get bifurcated really quickly when you're trying to do matchmaking, right? And
Absolutely.
We realized it right before we were going to release last September, and we actually turned off matchmaking because you would have sat there for a minute and then not ever gotten matchmade with someone. So now we've turned to a group finder. Still plan more and more improvements on that. To a group finder type of situation, and now you can just walk up to someone and hit RB and say,
Noticed
"Hey, I want
that
to
today too." Yep, little menu pops up and everything. Great. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, so things like that are great. We still things we need to improve there are around the communication once you're in a group. We were working on a set of stickers, and I was like, I still don't think that exactly gets you what you need. Like, if you get in a group with 3 people you don't know, never met, aren't on Discord together, some other way to communicate, it's a little difficult to say, hey, I want to go do this. I need to go back to tower. I need to do some dismantling. So, those are fun problems to solve, and I have no doubt that we can solve them. And so, like, I think that's sort of the successes that we've had is anytime that we've run up to something like that, we've just sort of put it to, here's the problem statement. How do we go solve it? And the team has yet to fail to come up with a solution that works for us. So that's a good thing.
I would say for sure. On kind of going a bit more towards the game itself, you guys have stated from like almost like a thesis angle, you guys do not want like voice in the game, not full chat, stuff like that, right? You're staying more towards kind of gated communication.
Yeah, it gets a little dicey once you allow total free form communication. We all know the stories of what can happen there. So we think something like pre-canned phrases that we can translate and can be available to people would be, have a really wide set of things that you can communicate, phrases. And I actually would reach out to the player base and ask, what do you need? When we were, excuse me, when we were looking at creating these stickers for communication, we produced them, and I was like, I'm not sure, but it certainly shouldn't just be me that's commenting on it. So I reached out to our players in the Discord and said, hey, will you take this survey and tell me what you think these stickers mean? And also open question, if you could only communicate through sticker, what are the things you're trying to communicate when you're in a group? And they just gave us this great set of examples and things we should think about. So now we're off thinking about that again. So I always try to engage the player base whenever we can with something like that, because it doesn't matter what you think internally as a developer that, this is exactly what the game needs. Till you put it in the hands of players, you're probably wrong.
Very true. Very true. Funny side thing, little bit of a free idea for you here. I was talking to somebody yesterday who said, wouldn't it be funny if a game picked up the words you said on your mic and then translated them into an in-game language? It'd be kind of fun if you could say like, hey, I need to go back and break down something. And then your game would take that text and turn it into a sticker above their head. That means, whatever that would be to go back, whatever bucket that would fall under. So that way it's like people could just talk, and then like the stickers would just pop up, in your gated communication. But I mean, these days with AI and stuff, you could probably do something like that, relatively resource free, but it'd still be a lot.
Yeah. And you could take that and, the nice things and people say, and the purposeful things, those could get translated. And if somebody just sort of rages into their microphone, well, maybe we could have a polite way of.
You could just have a little, this person needs a break, a little sticker.
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
Oh man.
The one thing we have to fix there too is that the places where you can use stickers and emotes and things like that we don't allow that right now on the map, and that's where it's really useful to talk to the group. You're like, hey, where do you want to go? You see it all the time. Like you can tell who's in a group and they're trying to tell somebody what, they run around one of the tiles and they're like, this is where I want to play. And it's like, they don't always get it. And we just don't want people to be frustrated. So eliminating any areas of frustration that we can is where we want to focus. And
good to know that's a point
we still
of focus,
have. Yeah, we still have a whole, we're working on things like the Great Forge, which there's a lot of people who are asking for transmog, for, all sorts of things. And yes, those are in the plans and things we're working toward. And we're hoping to bring those we plan to bring those for V1. And then, of course, right now, we plan to bring more story into the game. Right now, there's bits and pieces, but I think if you went and surveyed 100 people and asked them, like, what's the story of Towerborn and what do you know about it, we would get 100 very different answers. So how do we bring more of the story in a more cohesive manner so that people really understand it and can relate to it and care about it? Like, I think, at the end of the day, most people want to care about the world that they're spending time
absolutely.
in. And I think there's things there to improve. And then, the end game itself, we're sitting in danger level 5, but we've got, excuse me, plans to go higher than that. And, there's certainly, we call it the elder game, not the end game.
The elder game. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, there's things that you want people, again, what's the purpose that I have in this game, and what am I really trying to accomplish?
Current goals and kind of long-term goals is how I definitely like to.
Yes.
One of my cats just went crazy. I'll deal with that later.
We're also trying to improve. We found that some people were having difficulty just getting through the very early part of the game, and so we've made some improvements. You probably wouldn't have seen it because you've already played past that, but any new players would get a different onboarding and first-time user experience, and the first hour for them is going to be considerably different than it has been in the past. And we're hoping that brings more people, further into the game and kind of gets them, that addiction of like, well, I just want to go play Towerborn for, whether it's 5 minutes or 5 hours, just something that you think about on a daily basis. And we think we've got some improvements there that are going to really help. So we're excited about that.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, chat, as we come towards the end of this interview, if you have any questions you would like, feel free to post them in chat. We may be able to get to a couple of them. I have a few questions myself, though, as we get close to the end here. First of all, let's talk about you, Trisha. What is your favorite class in this game and why?
Yeah, well, gauntlets. I mentioned that earlier. I'm a sucker for the elbow drop, for the flying kick. Like, those are just fun moves. I've never been a huge wrestling fan, but I like to play one in the game. It's just fun, and I don't know. I guess I like my combat up close and personal.
I hear you there. I actually switched to the dual dagger guy today, and I think I found my new favorite class. Very fast. There are a lot of
it's fast and agile.
Absolutely, and also really shows off something. I forgot I wanted to comment on this earlier. Definite shout out to your animation guy, because there is a huge amount of animations in this game, and it is almost indiscernible to see any dropped connections or missing frames. Like it is a very pretty, fun to watch game, and I know how difficult that can be. So he did a great job on that. Fantastic job.
Well, yeah, we actually have 4 animators on the team.
That makes sense.
So you gotta do, yes, on this type of game, you better be solid there, or people will notice.
Oh, they will notice quickly. That will notice quickly. Chris said, question, can you get pets? Now, Chris, do you mean pets like the one that's kind of following me over my shoulder, or do you mean like, can you pet a cat kind of thing? But here's a question for you, and this is a little bit more on the technical side, but we do have some game dev workers in chat. Did you guys go agile or waterfall with your development? Like, how do you guys approach traditional game dev with your very untraditional setup?
Sure. Well, I think I call it scrum or fall. The thing is, when you're working. Typically, when you're working with a publisher, you have a date you're trying to hit, and agile is much more, hey, you release when you're ready to release, and not when you have releases and whatever's ready to go gets on the train and goes. But with this game, we're trying to do specific things on specific dates. So we do work in an agile format. And we have a release train. Like I said, we just submitted our next release in to get it tested and certified and all of that. And so we are working that way. But we have dates that we're hitting on our releases. Like I said, like every 2 weeks. And you either work is ready. Now we're more in that agile, I guess. And work is either ready to be released, or it's not, and it has to wait for the next release. But in the real world, it's not that simple. If somebody's like, I just didn't get to it, and it's not there, and we're like, but it's half of this next thing that we're releasing.
Yeah, what do you mean?
It doesn't work. And so that's one of the things that the production team is responsible for, to make sure like the things that we absolutely need to have there get there, and the things that can maybe wait are deprioritized and wait for the next release.
Very cool.
Yeah, Scrum or Fall is very, very real in the industry. Anybody who says they're not working toward a date is crazy, because you either have a publisher that gives you a date, or you have you only have so much money in the bank, and your date is when you run out of money.
If you want to admit it or not, there is always a date.
Yeah.
Very
Unless
cool.
You're independently wealthy.
Yeah, that's a nice problem, right? Also, just a random little addendum to that. Are you guys public with like the tool that you guys use to communicate and stuff? Because it sounds like that would be super. Or if that's private, that's totally cool.
What we use? Like Slack?
Oh, Slack. You guys are Slack?
I mean,
awesome. Yeah, I think somebody was wondering if you used any like specific thing for your coordination, since you guys are doing so much remotely. That's been...
No, I mean, Slack is like all day, every day, very little email. Mostly it's just real time, and we try to be really efficient around our Slack
Very
messaging.
cool. Yeah, these questions I know are a little more behind the scenes. We have remote dev, especially lately, has become incredibly interesting. We actually have like multiple small devs starting up in our community. So like they constantly, they love talking to success stories like you, essentially. You guys are doing it right. You're doing everything that they're looking to do. So yeah, those are great questions. Great questions.
Definitely trying.
Yeah, really appreciate that. On that note, though, I think we're very close to out of time. Before we leave, what I would like to know is what is the absolute, you guys are huge about getting feedback from community, talking to your community. What is the best way that people interested in Towerborn can follow you and the project?
Yeah, I mean, joining Discord is a great. I'm super active in Discord. A lot of people in there know me, and well, they'll just at me in Discord and be like, "Hey, I think you should pay attention to this thing." So our Discord server is great. It's just Discord GG/Towerborn. We have Towerborn.com that will certainly have updates that are going on. We post in Steam with every release and things like that. But I would say if you really want to talk to me, Discord's a great place. I'm there. I'm, hard to miss.
Well, Trisha, I really appreciate your time today. Again, this has been Trisha, the CEO of Stoic Studios, makers of the Banner Saga franchise, and now the very soon to be 1.0 Towerborn. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your transparency and your awesome answers. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate the support.
Absolutely. For all of you guys at home, if you'd like to get more information, of course, all the links she just gave are great. And we also have a Cohh.tv/Towerborn in the bottom right, which will go to get you a lot more information on this awesome project. As a brief reminder, although this is going to be some evergreen content, it is currently June 14th, 2025. This game is free for 4 more days. Your progress does save if you would like to check it out if you end up buying it after those 4 days or picking up the Founders Pack before free to play. And yeah, I think that's about everything that I remember here. Trisha, thank you so much again, and best of luck with everything Towerborn related.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Oh man, that was fun. Chat, thank you so much for hanging out with me on that. Trisha is awesome, and what an incredible story for that studio. Like just success to success to success to success, and you can tell it's because they're doing like their own thing. They know exactly what they're doing. They're doing it right. Like that's awesome. That's just great. Love interviewing people like that. A lot of passion there. Excellent. All right, guys, I'm out of here for now. Again, I do want to give a shout out and thank you to our friends over at Stoic for sponsoring the stream today. And on that note, I'll be back tonight at 6:30 for some Dune, between 6:30 and 7 for some Dune. Hope to see all of you guys there. Cohh.tv/Towerborn if you want any final info on this game, and I will see you guys later for more fun and games. Enjoy Passcode this afternoon. Have a great one. Bye-bye.